I'm back with another lesson this week on ear training, following up my last two videos. I think it's that important, and I thought it would be helpful to show you this process in real time. So I'm going to be listening to some royalty-free music that I found, hoping that it's not going to be turned into silence after the video is made. So I think this should be clear, and I should be able to listen to this music. I've never heard it before. I just did some YouTubing, and apparently that's a big thing. There's a lot of royalty-free for background and stuff. So I tried to find multiple genres of music, and I'm going to try to do this maybe easiest to hardest, what I thought would be the hardest to figure out by ear. And this is how my process, and I think it can be helpful and illuminating if you want to get better at this and get more holistic when you listen to music. And I'm also going to be starting and stopping the music to show you what's coming into my radar from an ear training perspective first. I think that's really helpful. And I'll try out these different tunes on either guitar or piano, and let's see how far we go. I got a thing full of tabs here with music. So here's number one, just to show off this whole thing here. Okay, here we go. This is a acoustic background guitar, a folk story. So, okay, and I've never heard this before, but I'm already going to stop because I can tell it sounds like 4-1. So that second chord, maybe you felt some more resolution than the first. And once you listen to this, I'm imagining it's probably going to be 4-1 again. And then we have to figure out the key. And this is the first kind of lesson within this video, is the key. That's the first step, right? To figure out the key of a song when you're trying to learn by ear. And what I often tell students to do is go and play like every fret on their guitar while they listen to this, and I can tell from this tune already is still in my ear, kind of, right? 4-1. I think this is the key. So I think this is the one. And what I also do is I kind of fast track that process by playing any note. And when I play this tune again, I'm just going to pick a random note on the guitar. So let's say I play this. Let's say I didn't know what it was in. Right, and I play this. Well, I might hear this as the context it is against the song, which if this is in A flat, like I think it is, then that sound will register a, what is that, sharp 5, right? It's one above E flat or flat 6. Really dissonant sound in this key, right? So that's kind of how quickly you want to get used to thinking in this way, is immediately thinking, what's the one chord? Now let's listen to this tune a little bit. So I've been talking the entire time, but sounds like 4-1, right? 6, right? And now I was already expecting the 5 and the 6, right? So, that's just because 1, 4, 5, and 6 are so common in popular music. And also, this is obviously it's pretty accessible music, right? It's not trying to be challenging or dissonant or kind of more complex than it needs to be, which is fine. So I'm assuming it's going to have probably just these 4 chords and maybe a 2, right? Maybe a 4. And this is a guitar thing here. Now, A flat is not a good key for guitar in general to play in. You can totally play these chords, but I have a video coming out about this and I think I mentioned this in a previous thing. You want to find some open chords usually. I think that's a good idea for most players, and not just to think they're all created equal. So, let me get my capo out real quick. So, do I have it? Yeah, sweet. Sorry for the interruption. Okay, so A flat. I would probably capo 1. And play in G, but there's a lot of options here. And once you know how to capo and think quickly into what key would be really nice for this sound that would complement this kind of agreeable, kind of bluegrassy folk or folky thing. Now I'm thinking in the key of G, 4 or 6, 5, 4, 1, 6, and I'm listening to that bass. And I'm feeling the feelings I feel when I hear 6, when I hear 5, 4. And I'm kind of confirming that when I play along with it, that my sound is the same. And it sounds like we might be in this loop, right? Now, And on the top of this music, we have the melody, right? This whistling kind of figure. And what was that? No. That might have been the line we just heard. That was a little off. Right. So you can kind of, like there, something like that, right? So this process works for the chords and the melody. And the main determining factor here is like the timbre of the sound. Is it kind of hard to hear? Like that whistling was kind of in, buried in the mix or whatever. Was it, or possibly the speed, the density of the amount of notes. So there's lots of things that can affect this, but you can, as you are tagging information, as you're getting to know these sounds, you can start to really quickly hear them. And there's all this context clues, right? So when I first heard this tune, it's pretty agreeable. And I heard 4-1. And I can't explain all the reasons why I hear that really quick, but there's something about the major scale and popular music in general that shows its cards quickly, if that makes sense. It is not most successful songs, because I don't think there's good and bad, but kind of more successful and less successful. But most successful ones have a chord progression that really makes one of the chords feel like home, right? We call that tonicizing. So that's generally the thing that happens in this kind of music. So that's a huge advantage to us, right? Because we can really use that feeling that we can get with a 4, right? That was the melody there, and that of course these go together, something like that. Okay, so that's the first one. I doubt it's going to change much, so I'm going to try to get through a few of these. Here's number 2. This is also acoustic guitar. We're going to get into some other genres here in a second, but let's listen. Okay, I'm going to go to the very beginning. I think it cut off. So I'm going to already stop it. Now that we assume that's 1, right? So 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 3. That was that sound on the guitar. 3, 4, 3. If you play guitar, that sounds kind of like a D maybe, or eventually you can learn that color, that really bright. And this is kind of, look at that. Sounds like a D, right? It sounds like the key of D. The only thing that could have been is maybe Capo or something. So we have this figure, the specific voicing. So we're in D here. And I'm already thinking D, G, A, B minor. Also a pretty agreeable sound, right? So I have those chords at the ready. I'm listening for the bass. There's a 6. There's a walkdown. Down to 4. Probably 5 here. Yeah. 1. And because we're doing this again. Now, it's good to be able to remember really quickly. Maybe the guitar going up there. Maybe a new section here. I'll do this melody now. 5, 5, 4, 3. Just walking down, probably 3. It kind of went away. All these inner lines and stuff you can find. Hear that on the top of the guitar, 3, 4, 5. Still there. All right. Okay. So again, not repeating. These are supposed to be generic background things that don't steal your attention with a cool chord progression. So that's okay. Okay, so here's another one. 9 minutes in, just seeing where I'm at. This is now a new genre of music, indie rock. So I'm going to go back to the beginning. I just kind of glanced through these to make sure they would be good things for like a couple seconds, but they all sounded pretty normal. All right. So, and this is like, written on guitar probably because it's in a good guitar key. So it sounds like, right? And at the beginning of that, we obviously have a different aesthetic. We are going to be maybe more minor, more, the character is going to change a lot. So I'm thinking now that the first chord, even though it sounded just like a power chord, like neither minor or major. Let's listen to that again here. Yeah. So that could go here. That could go major, but it sounds like it's probably going to go minor because I heard this little thing, right? So now we're thinking kind of more where E minor is the main chord / key of G. So all those chords that go in those boxes, but really E minor is going to be the main character here. And I'll play here. G, right? The flat 3 of the key is a relative minor, major. Same thing. We got this little line. Oh, 4, 3, 5, back to 6. With this 2, a G, 6, or 1 in the minor key, 3 in the minor key, 4, 1, 5, 6. And then it's going to repeat that probably. Okay. So there I was going between numbers in minor and major. So you can kind of hear them both ways. So you could hear that as a 6 chord going to 1, 2, 1, 5, 3. But really 6, or this is 1, 3. That's kind of how I'm hearing it too. Of course, there's again no objective answer here. It's really how you hear it and how can you hear it better and more efficiently and stuff. Okay, so the next one. This is Indie and Alternative Voice Memos by Zach Medlin. Apparently it's copyright free though. Okay. Yeah, that's like a pentatonic scale. So again, if I could just go to a piano and kind of poke around. So that note sounds like that was in there. Or maybe that she didn't sing that, but so this kind of sounds like a significant note, like a tonic. 1, that's E, or C sharp minor. And let's see where we go here. Right. So that's that pentatonic, and that's a sound too. That the scales are sounds, right? Groups of notes, like melodic groups of notes that are not together. That's you can kind of compress this into a feeling, right? Okay, so kind of a quicker chord progression. C sharp minor. There's that. There's an E. So I hear this is 6, 1, 4. Just hear it in the major key. Probably going to be similar. We have this still. And what's that? Ooh. Right. There's 1. Ooh. Different chords now. 4, 6. Go back to our first thing. So I'm listening to the bass so strongly. But the reason I'm able to do this really quick is because I have a certain framework that I think is helpful. And that's what I'm thinking a lot of people are missing when they have trouble getting better at this. They're kind of lost in this, the sauce of music theory or whatever, not having practical ways to practice this and think about it, right? So it's all got to be holistic, right? I like the analogy of cooking with music a lot. And to me, cooking is a holistic kind of act. Your understanding of like what works and what doesn't, it's all related. Depending on the ingredient, it's kind of the same principles, right? So still here, that's the same thing. So same principles, no matter the instrument even that you're playing, it's kind of the same stuff. And the tools that we use, we can keep those separate and, we can use those when we need. So in this case, this tool of ear training is incredibly important, I think. So that's probably what that is. I want to go a little bit farther into it. 4, right? 6, 1, 4. We have all that stuff. So, and then, or what? 3. I'm hearing that all in melody notes, right? Individual melody. 1, 7, 6. Or what I mean by that is in the scale. So I'm hearing scale degrees. 1, 7, 6, 5, 3. And also, the process is so automatic eventually that I shouldn't take credit for most of it. Meaning that my ears just kind of helping me out, right? With like this, right? All the times I've played that. And it kind of automatically comes together if you let it. Okay, let me get on to the next one. I don't want to make this video too long. So here we are, simple things. I don't know what kind of music this is. So let's find out. Maybe try it on piano now. Assuming it's going to sound good. Maybe it's like rocky. Sorry, it's loading. I want to go to the next one. Come back. Here we go. Okay, piano. Okay. Already I'm hearing 4, 3, 2. That's how that hits me, which is kind of like a classic walkdown, right? That lots of songs do. Because probably the melody, I don't know. It's just something, right? It's a whole thing. It's just it's a whole vibe. It's kind of hard to decipher it much. But when you tag information and practice these sounds in context, when you're going down through let's see what key this is before I show you something. Okay, I picked F randomly, and that sounds like the key. That sounds like 1. So if that's so that'd be oh, just kidding. No, that's like sounds like the first chord. So this is the key, right? So I found that melody, C, D, E, and I heard that as 1, 2, 3 once I kind of started touching the piano. So, right, that sounds like that 4, 3, 2. And if you had worked on triads in C, 4, 3, 2, and this, same on guitar, you would maybe recognize that sound. So let's play through this some more and see what it sounds like. Still the same thing, right? I can't wait no more. Same progression. Dennis was going to do this. We don't assume it's going to change, but I am listening to that bass. Maybe here it might change. We might get a different feel. 4, longer. 3, 2. Oh, there's another chord in that last part. 3, 4. Ooh, dominant. Okay, so yeah, it was like, and then I think there was that kind of color in there, the dominant 3. So the aesthetic is a lot different than what we just heard from previous things, but I'm still hearing it in this kind of way. That 4 is still hitting me, even if it's like, and then I'm hearing that color on the 3, that dominant versus this, right? This is a lot sharper. It's kind of wants to go somewhere, right? Okay, so let's go on to the next one. So this one looks like grunge instrumental, so maybe rock. Let me find my guitar. All right, let's see what key this is in here. So I'm already expecting power chords, and then once I find my key and we kind of get the feel of the song, we can think major or minor and find the tonic. Okay, so immediately we're assuming that's 1, right? 1, da, da. That's a huge element of rock music and other kinds of music too, this flat 7, right? So it's not our normal T, or what, do, T, do, da, 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 right? So and now when I play actually a note here, this sounds like 4 to that. So if this is 4, this is C, and that would be like, then we're there. So it sounds like this is in G, which would make that first progression G, F, G. And that is a huge sound in rock that we really want to recognize. Here we go. Okay, and immediately it's showing its cards, right? So I was expecting probably maybe these, the 4 and 5 of the key, but I also get the flat 3. So I get a lot of this language that we hear in most of rock, right? That has this kind of minor pentatonic thing, and we have chords based off the flat 3, the 4, the 5, flat 7 is a huge one, and the 1, of course. And the more dissonant you get, you might have notes that are even closer or out of the key. But in this case, we're kind of sticking to the key of G minor, whatever, G rock stuff. And now I'm listening for that motion and listen to the bass. Turn it up a little bit. You really gonna need to hear the bass when you do this. A little different at the end, right? Probably gonna repeat. I wish these were more, a little bit harder. All right, 4, 3. And I would do this to learn songs for gigs. Ooh, tritone there, right? So that's a really big, that's kind of a bluesy thing. So this is kind of in this lineage of sounds, right? You'll kind of hear all these, maybe not the 3, but even there you could, so there's lots of ways you'll hear these sounds. But I have this framework allows me to reference all those things. Every time I've heard this, I'm kind of putting it in the similar box. So I was going to mention though that I would make charts for songs for gigs, not with no instrument, just using my ear and writing down charts. And that's another video, but I'll show you how I make charts that allows me to play any kind of thing pretty quickly and dependably live if I do need to use charts. If I have to learn like 30 songs really quick that I don't know, right? Then you have to use charts, but that's not going to change. It doesn't sound like, so I'm just going to go in the middle. Yeah, same kind of thing. Okay, so here's another one. This is jazz. I'm switching gears hard. Let's see how it sounds. Okay, immediately, I just heard a little bit of it. Sax, but really clue into that bass. I'm hearing that as 1, I'm assuming, which would make da da da. That's like, what is that? 7, 5, 6. And then I find a note. I'll do this on guitar, I guess. So this sounded out, but I could kind of tell it was close to a note that was in. And that sounds like 5 to me out of this sound that I just heard. So if that's 5, then it would be in B flat, right? And that would that sounds like the right key. So let's check it out. That makes it, maybe 6, 2. And now we're in jazz land where there's these progressions, 5, that we play a lot. With 3. 2. Minor 5, dominant 1, going to 4. That's a 2-5-1 of the 4 chord. Dominant 3, 6, 2, and probably minor 2. Yeah, and then 5. And then let's get that melody in there. So, and this is where we kind of get into hearing based around the chord at the moment and the key. So I'm going between those. So I heard that as kind of a root 2, 3 on the 2 chord, but really in the key, this is 2, 3, 4, 5. So both are good. And I think that's kind of the macro and the micro, right? We want both, but I think people get caught up in the micro way too much. And this is a petition to think more macro about this whole thing. Kind of both, right? There's 7, 3, or 2. I'm at 3, 6, and then we have that line again. And then there's that. And once you know the quality of the chords and the chord progression, then of course the melody becomes a lot easier to find. And the reverse is true. Once you know the melody, that can illuminate any problems with the chord. So, okay, that's nice. Yeah, we have even the chord qualities. If you play jazz, some of those were altered. I heard a sharp 5 in there. I heard a few. I heard even like a flat 5 on the G. So those are all colors, real specific colors. And a lot of those I need to practice myself that elude me, like all the alterations of a, chord to like really know that's flat 9 sharp 9, or sorry, flat 5 sharp 9, right? That's a good skill. Okay, so on to a couple more, and then I'm going to wrap up under half an hour today. This is going to be Hillbilly Country. That's the name of this. I think it's just kind of a maybe country or bluegrass. Let's see what happens. Okay, so I've played a little of this kind of music. I'm not good at it, but it's fun. I heard this G as not the 1, and I kind of heard the flat 7 nature of this. So if this is flat 7, then this would be 1A. And this kind of music, you often play it in the key of G anyways, Capo 2. And so the key of G is a really big bluegrass guitar key, as well as D and C, and somewhat A and E as well. And the key of A opens great. We could play it like that, but I'm going to go and play it here. So I'm expecting, diatonic chords, maybe a flat 7, maybe an F, but probably a 4, for sure 5, 1, 4, and 5, probably not 6, but maybe a 2 kind of chord, 2 dominant or 2 minor, but I'm expecting just 1, 4, and 5. And then, all those other ones I mentioned. A slight possibility. 4. Yeah, there's 4. That's a 1, probably. 5. Just kidding, 4. Might be real simple. 5. There's 5. 6. 1. Okay, that's the whole thing. And then we have this form, right? So I think the form was more or less a legitimate thing, though it was kind of short. And then on the top of that, so this is, where we start to get into our instrument. Like, is that... So it's a lot of this major, obviously major context, but major pentatonic even, context on this, and a lot of this is too fast to play, but... right. So a lot of those notes are right there, right? And of course, if you slow this down, it gets easier. I've been in that state of listening for many times, figuring out tunes, especially lead material, melodic stuff. The chords usually don't go as quick. So the more chromatic it gets, the harder, of course. And the more progressive it gets, the harder. I've got 2 more here. Let's wrap up here. Grunge rock. So here's the beginning of this. Let's see what key we're in. Kind of what vibe we have, what feel in the music. Oh, this is the intro thing. But even there, right? Dun, dun, dun. So I hear that as 1. That something tells me that's 1. Maybe something from the first sound. Kind of hear C in there. 6, 5. That's just like a little intro title card. All right, so that first note, if that's 1, da dum, sounds kind of minor, right? So I heard that as the tritone, the flat or sharp 5. I think I heard that on another one, but so this sounds like E flat. It might be downtuned and played in E. Let's find out. Probably is downtuned. So I'm hearing 1 flat 3, 4, 1 flat 7, 1, right? And in the key of E, that'd be something like that. So that's probably all there is to it. There's some stuff on the top. Ooh. A little bit more. Ooh. Okay, so that got really adventurous, actually. As I said, it wasn't going to. Okay, so a key change, you hear that? And now we're in E minor, kind of. So interesting. Okay, so I heard that kind of... That's a... Oh, it's kind of treating E, I think, as they're thinking E is the 1. And then we're kind of walking down. That's a bizarre riff, personally. I don't... it's fine. But... and that goes to what? To the 4. And then I heard that as a 5 chord in an inversion, 5/7. So I'm guessing maybe we end up here. I was kidding, but I did hit that right. But it goes down to E again. So that's a cool chord change. That goes in really nice, like a few ways. But anyways, that's nice. Oh, here's even better, right? Very nice. That's a cool change. And then we have that E. And then here, what did I hear? That's a sharp 11, flat 5 in there. It's really nice. And then we're back to our first thing. So this detour to E, which is kind of cool, and that changes the context, right? Everything is like kind of reset when you change the 1, and everything can kind of be relative. This had some weird spots in it that I was kind of relying more on maybe the micro and not the macro as much, but still very much hearing all that stuff, right? And the more relativity, the better. It's never going to hurt. Okay, one final here, and this is the classical one I put on here. So I just to have fun, let's see if I can figure out any of this. You hear the full context here. So I mean that hits me a 6, right? It feels like a sad, melancholy opening. So da da da. So I'm just gonna play a note on the piano and see if we can figure this out. Okay, so that felt like 6, right? 6, 7, 1. So let's see if that gets us anywhere. So I think that was C, by the way. So if that's 6, then E flat is 1. So let's see if we are in B flat. Okay, and then that sounds like a whole new thing. So that sounds like B flat. So this is not, it's kind of an introductory thing, right? So that sounds like a 6 to me. So if that's 4, that sounds like now a 4 with the next chord, which is D minor, right? There was kind of this. Okay, in this figure, we've already heard, right? We just heard that, and now it's in another key. So we hear maybe A minor? Yeah. And this is, that was a more micro thing of like, okay, that sounds maybe like a 4 going to the next one. So that's the composer's kind of way of justifying. And then that sounds like 1 to 5. And that little motif on the top is being passed around. Ooh, and then again we have, and we had this on this chord early, and now we have that I hear that as of the chord 3 sharp 4 5, and of the key 6 7 1. So it puts G minor 6. Ooh, oh, what? I hear that as flat 7. Oh no, that's not right. What am I hearing? Oh, maybe. Okay, so I was hearing E flat as 1, but that's D flat major. Now I hear it as a 4 to a 6. That's just complex. 4. Maybe we start to get some footing in a key. It sounds like a 4 still to me. A flat major scale on top. So now we have some melodic stuff. Ooh, minor. And then that maybe sounds like a F minor. The 6. And now. And that's a 5 of 5. An inversion. 6. Ooh. That's a cool outside chord. Anyways, you get the idea. I could go on forever. But it's really, I think, helpful maybe to see this process, because I've never seen anyone show this process before. And this, the more you invest with tagging, the better this goes. So there's so many ways to practice this. and I'll go over them more in the future. But this video has been plenty long, so I will see you next time with another video. I'll be posting them on Thursdays, and if you can make sure and subscribe if you would like to support the making of this content. I have to sneak it in my week. Right now my kid's asleep, so that was my prime time to do this. So until next time, happy practicing. See ya.